Hello.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
Um, Doing fine now that my Zoom is working.
Okay, well, that's good. I like it. It's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute
Same
out.
here. Sure,
So,
sure.
so before we get into your life and what you do, going through COVID's worked on all of us in its own way, and I'm curious how you survive that time period now that the world's waking up and how it's changed the way that you do things now.
Okay. Um, it hasn't changed my life at all because I do all my work sitting in the studio. Um, and so COVID was a great time for me in that everybody else was sitting at home and they wanted to do podcasting.
So, let's get to the essence of exactly what you do. Are you located in Cleveland?
I'm located in the Cleveland area. Um, we came up with the name because initially this was going to be a platform for my son. He was going to do an all sports podcasting station, but then he got a job for the Cleveland Indians, who are now the Guardians, and they put a muzzle on him as far as talking baseball, which is his favorite sport.
Gotcha.
So he handed the business over to me, and I wanted to continue doing what I thought was important, and that is giving a voice to anyone who's out there who wants to grow, who wants to make a change.
So let's get to that part of what you do exactly. If I was to put you in front of a bunch of third graders, hypothetically speaking, at a career day, third graders, one of them looks up at you and wants to know what you do daily. What is the job you do? How would you explain it?
So, what I do daily is I find guests just like you, and I ask you what you've been doing in your life up to now, and what is it you really want to do. This is your platform to dream and come up with those ideas, how you can do things better than you did before, and uh, where is it you want to be 5 years from now? Because so many of us, we dream, but we don't share those dreams because we're afraid people are going to laugh at them. And so we're not going to laugh, we're not going to judge because the world is out there for you to get.
I applaud you for the philosophy because I have found it's weird. I've been doing podcasting since 2011. It really started out as doing interviews with jazz musicians, and it's kind of gotten to this point where I'm doing a lot more people. And I find it interesting that it's this thing now that's so big. But I think it's really good that the pandemic put a microscope on this because in this very divided world we live in, it seems as though podcasting is a very therapeutic avenue for all of us to understand each other, find empathy, and find a way to celebrate what all of us individually do.
Right. And that's why I'm now taking it from podcasting, which I'll continue to do, but I'm going to do personal coaching because my experiences in life have taught me that, when I said I can't do things because I don't have the money, I can't do things because I'm working a full time job. It was always I can't, except my father, as we grew up and even as adults, if he heard us say I can't, he got very upset with us. And his comment would be, "Did you try? And how long did you try? Did you try for a second? It's not going to happen in a second. It has to be minutes, hours, and weeks." And listening to him, I gained a great sense of knowledge that, you know what, if there is something I want to do, I can sail my boat to that destination. But I have to be aware of all the steps I'm taking to get there because I may get lost along the way or I may run into a storm. And it's how I deal with those setbacks that will make me achieve what I truly want to achieve. So when you talk about you've been doing podcasting since 2011, I started in 2013. Had one show. Um, I really didn't care who was listening. In fact, I didn't even look at stats. Um, by 2015, I said, you know what, I got to take this more seriously if this is what I really want to do. And uh, I started growing it by asking other podcasters to come along on New Cleveland Radio. I have the setup, I have the background. I'll help you launch your podcast. And that to me was almost like coaching them, because I found people who said all along, I can't do this. I have a full-time job. It's never going to happen. And two of them now are doing it full-time, and they too are personal coaches.
So how did these seeds get in you? Go back to your childhood where you were born and raised. You talked about your dad. How did the beginnings of this and the seeds really grow into your desire to publicly talk and be out there in front?
Sure. So when I was graduating high school, I came to my parents and I said, I'm going to major in communications. This was 1968. And my parents looked at me and said, no, you're not. We're not going to pay for that. And it was like, well, why not? And it's like, there's only one Betty Friedan. Is that what you want to do? Look at a refrigerator and talk about it? I said, oh no, I want to be on the news desk. And my parents never laughed at me except that one time. They said, it's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen on our dime. So I went to college, didn't tell them what courses I was taking. And for 2 years, I studied communications. Didn't take science, didn't take any of those regular classes. How I was allowed to do it, I still don't know to this date. After 2 years, my father said to me, I'm a little curious. I just saw your transcript and you took 300 and 400 classes, but you're not graduating. And when I told them what I did, they pulled the plug on me.
Wow.
And they said, no more paying. You want to do it on your own. Hence, I got married. My life changed for quite a while. But in 2008, when my youngest son was graduating high school and going on to college, I said, I have to finish my degree, because he's going to end up with a 4-year degree, and there's going to be mama who didn't even put the effort into continuing. So I went on to finish my degree, got my master's, and I was working for a college at the time, and they promised me the world with my master's. And instead of giving me the world, they showed me the door.
Wow.
So I said, I can do this, and I'm going to do it. Somehow I'm going to make this work. And I came home and I told my husband, this is what I want to do. He's an IT professional. He went out and bought me a soundboard and microphones and, which computer do you want to use? And I just learned from the ground up, and it's exciting. And I realize now that anyone who wants to make a change, if you want it deeply in your heart, you can make that change.
Oh, great. Absolutely. Who's been kind of your favorite broadcaster or podcaster, somebody that's inspired you on this journey?
So it hasn't been a podcaster, but Jane Pauley was the person that I wanted to be. I never felt that she was not telling me the truth in anything that she said on TV. And she was vibrant, and that's what I wanted to be, but I didn't know how to do it because I was working other jobs where nobody would see that. But I will say that what she also encouraged me to do, every time there was a opportunity to speak publicly for whatever group I was working for, I volunteered. Because it was like, well, maybe that's all I'm going to get, but I'm going to work for it and do that. And that's what I knew, that going back to school was going to be helpful. And those credentials were going to help me get my foot in the door.
What would be a dream interview for you? Who would it be?
Michelle Obama.
She's always number one. If
Yeah.
anybody I ask, who would you want to meet? She's number one.
I mean, she appears to be the kindest person in the whole world. And I just think I would learn so much from her. Um, and there's something about her that she's so human that I don't think I would sit there like an excited fan. Internally, I might be, but outwardly, I think I could keep my calm demeanor with her.
So every day you wake up, you have things that you want to get done, people you want to interview, a show to keep up. What is the ultimate motivator for you?
I'm going to learn something new every day. I did a podcast this morning with one of my podcasters. We've been working together 5 years. She's a personal coach. So we do a mini coaching session in her podcast. Not only do I learn something new about myself, but I learned that I'm not alone in those feelings. I'm not the only one who gets scared. I'm not the only one who has anxiety. I'm not the only one who makes mistakes. But when you aren't doing this, sometimes you think you are the only one. And that's what I'm finding with my new clients. The first thing they'll say to me is, I have no money. And so how can I start a business? Well, the reality is when I started this business, I had lost a very good figure job. I mean, I was the breadwinner in our family. So it was difficult for me to finally say to my husband, I'm not going to go take another job. We didn't have money and we had bills, but we also knew if I went and took just a 9-to-5 job, I would be depressed and I would feel like, hey, what else do I have in front of me? And the fact that I'm doing this, it has helped my husband as well, because he just marvels in everything that I do and he encourages it. So I'm a very lucky lady.
What's been one of the best client responses, fans, or even a guest that you've had? Something that stands out, fan letter.
Um, I've had David Zimmerman on my program twice, and he has put me in touch with numerous celebrities. But what I've gotten out of that is they are just human beings. There's nothing, I mean, David treats me as doesn't make any difference what level I'm on. And the same thing with the individuals that I have interviewed through him. And it's like, what a wonderful feeling it is to know that, yes, everybody has a talent in a different area and strengths in different areas. And so do I. So doesn't just because, Barbara Streisand may make lots of money and have a beautiful voice and beautiful home, it doesn't take away from what I have. And that's what I hope people will start to see instead of dreaming about, I have to be just like that person.
So, of all of the things that you've gone through, the journey you had to go through for education and to get to a point where you're established as a podcaster now, if you had a dream tonight, you ran into the 20-year-old version of yourself, and you could give that younger version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained in your life up to this point, what would you tell that young version?
Stop being afraid of the future. Take one step today. Announce yourself. And that's one of the things that has helped me. Every time I've decided now there's something new I want to do, I announce it. So now I've got to make it happen.
So, what are you the proudest of all the things you've accomplished and done in your life? What is it that you're the proudest of?
That I'm enjoying life, really enjoying it. I can see it with different eyes. And I'll give you an example. About 4 weeks ago, my youngest son, who's just recently moved to Texas for a job, called me up. He was in severe pain. He was afraid to go to the emergency room, on and on. Turns out he had to have emergency surgery. My husband and I had to figure out a way to get down to Texas. And we had money tied up in areas that I didn't think I was going to be able to afford a plane ticket. But I called my oldest son and just nonchalantly said, I'm not sure how to do this. And then I said, no, I do know how to do this. Can you please help us for 30 days? I never would have done that before. I've got the confidence. If he would have said no, I would have started digging in drawers to find all the pennies. But when I got down there, I realized I'm not the same mother I was when my son lived here. I was there to support him, but not tell him what to do. And that's when I announced that I was going to do personal coaching. I don't have to tell somebody what to do. I can help guide them. And if they don't want to be guided in a certain direction, I can hear them out. And my son and I have created a relationship in the last 4 weeks that is stronger than any relationship we've ever had.
That's wonderful. So let's get to the real heart and soul of who you are, what makes you who you are. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, listeners, colleagues, but you ultimately run your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I am a woman who now knows how to live a positive life. I squandered away years only seeing the negative, occasionally seeing the positive, but oh, that's not for me. I'm never going to get there. I don't look at the negative. It's there, but you know what? I can go around it. I can battle through it. Where's the negative going to get me? And so I've chosen that from this point on. It makes no difference that I'm 73 years old. I still have the ability to move forward and grow and be happy.
Well said. So, Karen, if anyone wants to listen to your podcast, know anything more about you and anything you've done and you do in your life, where can they go?
They can go to either newclevelandradio.net, that's our website, or they can email me directly at newclevelandradio@gmail.com.
Excellent. Power to the podcasters, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Hey, it was great to get to know you. Thank you for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. It seemed like you've had to fight really hard to get where you're at. So more power to you. Best of luck with everything. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Have a great day, Joe.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. See ya.